welcome to All Juiced Up, the podcast that's all about electric vehicles. I'm your host, Dom, and I'm joined by my co host, Sergio. Together, we're here to bring you the latest and greatest news, reviews, and discussions about everything EV related. From Tesla to Rivian and everything in between, we're here to help you stay up to date on the rapidly evolving world of electric vehicles. So, whether you're a diehard EV enthusiast or just starting to dip your toes into the world of electric transportation, All Juiced Up has something for you. So sit back, relax, and let's get charged up for our first episode of All Juiced Up. Let's go.
That was good. That was great.
Hey man, I'm trying.
That was great. Actually, that was great. Like right there, I would listen to. I'm like, okay, here we go. That was great.
Okay, so I'll make sure that one definitely makes the cut. So when I chop it up a little bit, we'll go ahead and get it. All right, so this is All Juiced Up for everybody that's just joining. This is first off, I want to give a lot of credit to my co-host Sergio, who agreed to do the podcast with me. Basically, off of a Facebook message that I shot him, and kind of looked up what he had going on and some of the other comments that he made in some of the groups that we're in, and I knew I had to do a podcast with him. So definitely, thank you, Sergio, for doing this with me. A lot of credit goes to you, man.
Absolutely, man. You know what? I appreciate the fact that you invited me, and I couldn't see myself being a part of any other podcast, but this one right here. Like the lineup is going to be great. The conversations are going to be exactly in line of what we both agree with. So some things we're not going to agree on, but you know what? It's going to make for good conversation.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So a little bit about the podcast. Essentially two black guys. We definitely wanted to come on here and definitely give a little bit more representation to a lot of EV owners and EV content. So this first episode, we're just really going to go through kind of who we are, the cars we drive, how we came about them, and kind of our impressions of the whole state of electric vehicles and electrification, if you will. And we're just, like I said, we're just going to be talking. Nothing is scripted here. Definitely kind of we have like bullet points of things that we're going to talk about, but nothing completely like scripted out. So we're just it's just two guys talking, and maybe in the future you guys will see some other of our people joining us. So, all right. So without further ado, Sergio, what EV or EVs do you hold on? Time out. No, ma'am, you gotta go. I swear.
That's timing. That's timing. But you know what? That's going to be okay, because you and I are just chatting. We're hanging out. And if we don't have our little ones pop up on us to check us, it's not real.
For sure. All right. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. So, all right. First subject, who we are. Sergio, we'll let you go ahead and take this one. And, what EVs do you own? Why did you go electric? What made you go electric? We're going to talk about charging solutions and some of our impressions. So what's up?
All right, man. Yeah, absolutely. This is a fun conversation for me. So first and foremost, I like to brag about this because I got over 500,000 miles of EV miles, like, done. So driving an EV over 500,000 miles takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of patience. And you know what? I think that's what gives me a lot of insight when it comes to this world. So current EVs that I have right now, I have a Mach-E First Edition. I have a Mach-E GT Performance Edition. I have a Ford Lightning Platinum Edition. I have a Tesla Model 3. But I can't really just say what I have right now and not share what I've had, because it kind of gives you guys a little bit more of like who I am and what I'm about. But I've had a couple Model X's, one of them a 2020 Performance Model X, 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds. Whew, fast. Let's see. I've also had one of the first cars that I had that got me into the EV world was my Fisker Karma, which was a plug-in hybrid. Worked 50 miles off of straight electricity. Then the generator would kick in, and then you'd run your extra 250 miles off of fuel. But that was my dabbling, and then I finally decided that I could jump into the EV world and make it work. So that's a little bit about me. I've had a couple other little things here and there, but I'm all about EVs, man. I love electric vehicles. The cost of gas out here in California has always been a problem for
Crazy.
me. Right, like
Yeah,
ridiculous. So,
crazy.
once gas got to like $5 and something cents, like some years back, I was just like, you know what, I'm done. I'm not going to continue giving my money to gas stations. I want an electric vehicle. I'm gonna get solar at the house. I'm gonna go ahead and cut down my costs. That's what I did, man. So no more thinking about like what are the gas prices up and down today. I'm not worried about all that. I know how much I can charge and how much it's gonna cost me and what I need to do. So that saved me right there. I got a charge point flex charger at home that I could plug in. I can completely control it from my phone, so I could tell it what time to charge, when not to charge. Put a schedule on there, so I'm charging it like the least expensive times when it comes to electrical charging. Not worried about running up my electric bill to ridiculous amounts. I'm excited, man. I can't wait for this conversation to continue going with you and I, and for us to just share that how fun it is.
So yes, he's definitely referring to. I'll give you a quick preview. He is probably as far left as that you could be as far as the EVs go. I'm probably the farthest right that you could possibly go. So for me, I own a 2020 Tesla Model 3 Performance as well as a 2023 2022 Tesla Model Y Long Range. And and it's funny because he's a recent owner of a Tesla Model 3. So yeah.
Why does it have to be left or right, bro? Why can't we just be down the middle?
Oh, I'm with it. Yeah, it's whatever. We both drive electric vehicles. Hey, it's all good. We're part of electrification, so I'm good with it. I'm good with it. But yeah, so yeah, no. Yeah, but I made the switch. Basically, I had in my mind that I was going to make the switch maybe about maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I was out in Apex, North Carolina for work, and I had just drove down there, and I didn't realize that there was a gas shortage coming, and I wasn't sure if it was going to hit where I was, and yeah, it definitely hit while I was out on the road for work, and then I had to get up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning trying to find somewhere to get gas. And even at that, if you did find a gas station with gas, it was trickling. So you were there for like 30, 40 minutes, almost what it would take you to charge at Electrify America station just to put in your gas tank. So that was a problem.
Wow.
And I called my wife hot. I was hot. I said, look, we're getting an electric vehicle. I'm done with this. I'm not dealing with this ever again. And that was kind of all she wrote. So then what was it? The summer of 2021, about August, about when the time my wife had to go back to work. We had just sold our lease and we were talking about it. And it was like, well, we're going to try an electric vehicle. We might as well try it now. And so we looked on the web and came across the one that we bought. It was already wrapped, had the tint on it, looked really good. The wheels were powder coated. So we just pulled the trigger, and it's been a great experience ever since. And then for the Model Y, my wife liked the Model 3 so much because the Model 3 is my car. It was always going to be my car, but she drove it for the first year and a half just to, because at the time I was working from home as well. So, chivalry, making sure the lady can get to work and whatnot. So, but yeah, once I had to go back to work, she was like, okay, well, I'll put in my order for my Model Y, and we waited about 10 months for it and we got it. And that was all she wrote. Now, for my home charging solution, I use a Tesla wall connector that we got an electrician to come put it in for us, which at the time, I think I overpaid for the installation, but seeing what it was at the time, it was all good. Everything was inflated. So the cost of copper was up dramatically. So I had to deal with that and kind of eat that cost. So, but yeah, initial impressions of how it's going really well. 2 EVs. I have charging at work, charge point at work that they don't charge us for. Definitely a courtesy of my job. So I definitely am grateful for that. And as long as I get there early, I can make sure that I get a spot. And it doesn't take me long to charge. So yeah.
Oh man, that's what's up. Yeah, I used to have, when I was in Coronado, I used to drive down there. They used to charge, it was 99 cents at the base, 99 cents for per hour to charge out at their charge point, level 2 charger there. Level 2 meaning that I was getting about 25 miles per hour on that one, like 6 to 7
Mm.
kilowatt hours. Still 6 to 7 kilowatts, but 99 cents an hour. I used to get there 3 hours. I was done with what I needed for the drive that I did there, and I was good to go. So less about $3 to get back and then get home. And I had solar, so absolutely free charging when I get home. So it was awesome. It cost me $3 daily operations to drive 100 and what was it? It was 92 miles each way. So what is that? 184
Mm.
miles a day.
184
Like
miles. Yeah.
mhm, $3.
You could,
Who
yeah,
can say
you can't,
$3 a
yeah,
day?
you can't beat that. Yeah, you can't beat that at all. Not at all.
And I
And
got the
now for
carpool
me,
lane. And I got the carpool lane.
yeah. So
Yeah.
no traffic either.
Yeah.
That works. Yeah. So for me, I kind of currently do my job's about 20 miles away from me, so I do 40 miles a day, just work purposes, going back and forth. And I don't necessarily charge the car at home, only during the cold times. And here in Charlotte, it is very weird weather. So right now we're still kind of in the second winter phase of the weather. So it could snow at any point. We're not really out of the woods until about mid-April, late April, early May. But yeah, just for battery purposes, I plug my car in at night. When it's going to go below anything of like 40 degrees, just keep the BMS running and just make sure that the car is running its heat throughout the night. So
Right.
yeah, but yeah, I'm about the same. Probably about maybe dollar and 50 cents or so a day operating costs. And then my wife's car, she drives pretty much same amount as I do, maybe 20 miles a day. But she parks on the side of the house that has the wall connector, so
Okay.
she charges up every night. Yeah, and I said I have mine scheduled to charge just like yourself. Probably we started like one a.m. and I've stepped it down from 48 amps to about maybe 25 or 30 because 48 amps it's done in an hour and a half. So
Right.
I was like, yeah, let's spread that out a little bit. Just spread that out a little bit. So
Not try to overheat them batteries, taking in all that charge real fast. Which I mean, I'm also a fan of trickle charging from time to time, but
mhm.
depends on what I'm doing. If I'm at home, trickle charging, as long as I have enough to get home in the morning, I mean to get to work in the morning, I'm good to go.
Yeah, and a lot of people are really weird about electrification and not having thinking that they need more range than they actually do. And that's something that's been eye opening for me. And it's like, once you get into electric vehicles and you actually plan out where you go, what do you do on a daily basis, you actually find out, yeah, I don't need a car that really does, 350 miles a tank when I'm going to be charging at home anyway. I just go where I need to go. It just takes a little bit more thought. The days of just going to the gas station, putting it, filling it up, and then going forward I think, are done for me. Definitely for me. I'm out of it. I'm out of the game. They can
It-
have it.
that is absolutely. What's funny is I was just having this conversation with my mom on just today, just today. She was in the car with me, and she's just like, "Yeah, but I think that there needs to be more infrastructure. Like, I think there should be a charging station off of every exit." And I was just like, "For what, ma? Like, explain to
Yeah.
me what? Why would I need a charging station every exit?" I'm like, "You
Right.
guys got gas stations every exit because they're competing and whatnot." I'm like, "My car can get almost 300 miles. If I charge at home, why do I need a charger at the next exit? Or if that person stops at this exit, they're not going to need to stop at the next exit to do it. Like, we
Hmm.
don't need to do all that. Like, your electric vehicle can get charged up like in a very short amount of time and have you back on. It depends on which one you have. Get you back on the road
Yeah.
pretty quick. So
Oh, definitely.
yeah,
Yeah. I've never needed. I don't think I've ever needed to have or ever thought about having to have a charger or at each gas station. But I think they're starting to get into it. I just saw an article not too long ago about 7-Eleven coming up with their own charging station built from the ground up from themselves. So that's going to be interesting. Definitely want to see how that goes. But once now that we're kind of on the subject of third party charging, let's for those of you who don't know, Sergio was probably one of the first people that I saw that did um, a charging session with his non Tesla EV, which was his Ford Lightning. The day that it happened, you were probably like one of the first people that I saw. So if you could kind of just, how was it? How did it go? What was the experience like? Would you do it again, or what situations would you do something like that?
So it was actually pretty cool. Yeah, thank you for asking me about that so I could share this. It was actually pretty cool. I was on my way home. I got the alert that Tesla has now, everybody tweets and, shares information. So it hits you immediately. So I got the alert. I was driving home and I was just like, oh, shoot, they opened up the charging stations. I was like, there's two in California. There's one in Scotts Valley. Ah, man, I'm only like 30 minutes from Scotts Valley. Let me go ahead and rush over to Scotts Valley and go test this out and see. So got over to Scotts Valley. It's pretty simple. Opened up my Tesla app. I said I wanted to charge my non-Tesla EV. It asked me what space I was in. I said this space. I think it was like 1A. I said 1A, selected it. It said push the charger handle in to release the Magic Dock. Pushed it in. It released it. The CCS popped out with it. Plugged it into my vehicle. Started charging. So it was pretty
Mm.
awesome to see how seamless, how quick it was just to pull up, select what I needed to do, and have the charger firing off. I think I started going up to about 123 kilowatts on there, which is pretty decent for the Lightning to do with an adapter. So the highest I've gotten is 182 with Electrify America.
Mm.
But to sit there and use this third party app and have the opportunity and have a choice instead of just being locked into one, it was actually pretty cool. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Nice. So in what situation, so would you do it all the time? Because one of the things is that they charge you a little bit higher, or I'm not sure what it was over there, but some places that I've seen, like the New York one that Tom Malagny, MKBHD, and then now Kyle Connor has visited. They said it's about 40 cents per kilowatt hour just to charge your non-Tesla. So would you pay for the subscription, which is, was it 15 or $20 a month, which to me almost adds up to the same thing. So
Yeah, so actually it's 52 cents a kilowatt hour if you don't have the
mm,
subscription. So 52 cents is definitely something that, I mean, EVgo is about that rate out in this area where I'm at right now. It's like 54 cents, 52 cents. So it's competitive if you're a fan of EVgo. I normally use Electrify America. Electrify America was with a subscription that only cost me $4 a month, was 31 cents up until March 1st when they decided to increase their rates 5 cents. So now it's 36 cents. So I can go to an
mm,
Electrify America and pay 36 cents a kilowatt hour, or go to Tesla for 52 cents a kilowatt hour. If I sign up for this subscription, it's like 16.99, and then it drops it down to 42 cents because their charging network isn't opened up across the board for their network. It doesn't make sense to do the subscription unless you're in that area and you need to use their chargers regularly.
mm,
So for me it wouldn't work out because I'm not using it. But for somebody who might say, hey, I need to use this one much more and I'm going to frequent it every day on my way home or on my way to work, it could be a benefit to them, and they have an option instead of not having an option in case they can't charge at home for whatever reason. They have that.
right. So one thing I want to show here on the stream, which you guys will start noticing that I'm kind of using some of the features of my streaming capability here. So this is the first show. We're trying to flesh out everything. So definitely making sure that this is going to work. I'm going to bring up your video, and I kind of want to see and or point out some things that were kind of interesting. So um, now I gotta find where it's playing at. There we go. So for anybody that wants, I'm not gonna, you're not gonna hear it because I'm not gonna play the audio. But for anybody, this is a very good video for a lot of people who are interested on how this works. Definitely want you guys to check this out. So I'm also gonna leave the link in the description. So here is your F-150.
Yes.
And most people know that in Teslas, or should know in Teslas, that the charging the charging port is on the back left of the car. So most of the time we back into our stations, and the cable's just long enough for the stall that we pull into to plug in right then and there. Um, you're the F-150, and this is going to be a problem for a lot of different EV owners or non-Tesla owners. So I mean, it's not just specific to the F-150. I mean, you've seen the Lucid, that one's on pretty much the same location as the F-150, the Kia EV6 and the Hyundai Ioniq 5. I have not seen the Ioniq 6 or the charge portal where it's located, but they are located on the back right of the car, which are probably the closest ones to be able to use the same uh, and you know what? We had a conversation about this where you said the original Ionic was able to do to plug into the stall that is exactly facing just like the Teslas. But for the F-150, it's parked in the other stall.
Yes,
So
so
basically,
technically the
yeah,
spot that I'm in right now, yes, it wouldn't be if you had a Tesla, that wouldn't be the stall for the charger that I'm using.
right. Now, I will say this stall right here, if everybody can see my mouse, well, you probably can't, but there's a stall like if you look right past the sign, that one is the pull through charger. Now that one does make a lot of sense for the F-150s and the Rivians and those other EVs because it's located in a spot that makes it easy to charge, which I'm all for. Which because I thought Tesla was going to create some special pull through slot for these cars in order to do it. And honestly, they're smart in the way that they did it because they just retrofitted the holder or the dock that the original Tesla cable goes into. So that was really smart, and they're able to roll that out really quickly. But right now, we only see them in where you are and in New York. So I haven't seen it anywhere else or anybody say anything about where they are anywhere else. I check my app daily because as soon the day that Charlotte does it, I don't have a non-EV to charge, but I'm going to go see it. So, just and probably interview some people that's there. So, but yeah,
Well,
but I'm
since
go
it's a
ahead.
pilot program, they wanted to roll it out to their least used stations. So they knew Scotts
Mm,
Valley was one of the ones that are like rarely used. They knew the ones up in New York that they used were rarely used. So they're testing it. As you can see, I'm plugged in right there. Look on the other side. You don't see anybody else charging with me on that one right there. So
mm-mm,
it's like just
not
from
at
the
all.
photo that's up right now, nobody's there. And the reason why is because that station does not get that much traffic. So Tesla added all those stations in order to give an opportunity to folks to be able to just go in. I thought honestly that they were going to do specific stations. I didn't realize they were going to do all their
Hmm.
stations at the to have the Magic Dock, but it's kind of cool that they did. You mentioned that pull through spot, and it kind of made me laugh because you're right. It would be easy for me to pull up and use that pull through spot, but the
Hmm.
about three-quarters of my truck would be now into the lanes of traffic because
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
no way for me to pull all the way in with that cable being as short as it is for me to be able to charge. So I'm either way it goes, I'm either going to block on one side or the other. But yeah, we definitely are going to be you know a little bit disruptive in taking stalls that we don't need to take in order to charge. And it's, I mean, Tesla claims that they're working on longer cables and they're going to make it happen. So that's what I'm waiting for.
yeah, yeah. Same here. And I think there's a lot of etiquette around being a Tesla owner, at least, and there's a lot of stigma about being about the etiquette. And it's you find out who's the last person in line, and you're behind that person, and they're very adamant about that because one, if you pull into a V2 stall, which the power is shared between two stalls, it is almost like the men's bathroom. You use every other urinal. You do not use the bathroom. You do not go to a urinal in between, two guys. You just don't. And people have been known to get nasty about that. And so that is very interesting that, now that we're throwing the non Tesla EVs in here, that's going to change. Now, my solution to this is not a 100% foolproof solution, but my solution to this is Tesla adding some sort of queuing system. um, like I said, it's going to be hard because for the non Tesla EVs, the ones that take up two stalls, that's going to be really difficult. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's going to be really difficult. But I mean, for Teslas in general, they just need to add a queuing system for when it's overcrowded and you just got there and you have no idea who the last person in line is, and it's just gonna make everything easier. Just tell
Yeah,
you what stall to pull into.
it's going to make it tough because kind of like the Scotts Valley one is, I got out there and I was using 2 stalls, but yet you'll see on the app that, 7 stalls are open because I was using one of them. Instead, it's really 6 because I'm there. And then a
Right.
Rivian pulled up and he was blocking 2. And then, some other folks pulled in and they were blocking them. So it's just like, yeah, those numbers are going to be decreased. So now you're being directed to go there to go charge. And there's really not an open spot for you because non-Teslas are over there charging. So there has to be a way for them to make it work. I think the longer cables is the way to go. Maybe centering the charge station, so then that way, regardless of what side the person's charger is on, it'll be able to reach, and then that way it makes it
Mhm.
work.
So the answer to Tesla's answer to that is the uh, V4 stall. And not that it's putting out more power, which I don't know. Tesla says it's not putting out more power, but they're known to lowball a lot of things that they do. So, but so for instance, the version 4 supercharger looks more like this. It looks more industrialized, and the cool thing about it is that the cable is housed in this housing right here, and what that allows is for the cable to be longer, and it's definitely going to help. And I believe this is in Norway, so this is something that they always try something out in like Norway or the higher um, populated by EV countries. So Norway is definitely one of them. So they're definitely trying this out there. This should be something that comes to the US relatively soon. And it's not like they're going to wipe away all the version 3 superchargers. They're probably just, the new stuff they bring up is going to be version 4. And I think that's what's going to be used mostly by the, uh, the the F-150 Lightnings, the Luces, the Rivians, the EV6s, the Honda Ioniq 6s, Ioniq 5 and 6s, and just all of them. And now what's cool about that is I just read that Rivian is just got an update where I believe they're adding the Tesla supercharger locations to their software or their mapping.
Oh yeah,
So
yes.
now they can actually map to go directly there. So it's only a matter of time before the vote, all the other ones do the same thing and just update to be able to say, hey, we can navigate you to a supercharger. So, and that brings up an interesting question because you live in California, and that is one state that is awesome as far as EV adoption. And so, have you ever had range anxiety with any of your vehicles? Now, the obvious answer is probably no because you have 4 EVs. But what's how do you feel about all that?
So I'm not gonna lie. When I first got my Fisker Carmen, I was trying to figure out the whole electrification, how to just use electricity and not use my gas. I did have range anxiety trying to figure out where I was going to charge, how I was going to charge, and whatnot. When I got my 2017 Hyundai Ioniq, that only had a 28 kilowatt hour battery that was only rated at 124 miles of range, I had some range anxiety as well. But
Mhm.
and that was here in California. Then I moved to the South where there are not as much charges as there are in California. So having to learn to do it, I think the biggest key for me was PlugShare. PlugShare taught me how to pull up my app, filter out what I was looking for, and pull up pricing, see live data from users telling me whether or not that charger was working, what was it putting out for
Mhm.
them. And then that way I could make informed decisions of where I was going to stop, when I was going to stop, and not have that. I think PlugShare took away that anxiety issue. Before PlugShare, I had problems because I did not know what was going on. I did not know what I was going to be walking into, pulling into a station. Now it's literally I pull it up, I open it, I know where I'm going to head. I click 1, 2, 3. It's working, working, working. Boom, that's where I'm stopping.
Hmm. That's awesome. Yeah, that's truly awesome. Yeah, I can say I don't think I've ever had range anxiety. Because I'm very meticulous about this. Whenever we go on road trips, I definitely use a better route planner or a better route planner, however you want to say that, to figure out where I'm going and make sure I have enough range to go where I'm going. And I don't. I don't necessarily detour from any of that either. And now the funny thing is, and I'm not sure if you've noticed this, the funny thing is when you navigate to a certain place, do your cars take you straight there, or do they leave a buffer of some percent so you can drive around?
So Ford is very conservative when it comes to what it's going to get you there. So my Fords
Mhm.
will tell me to go to a charging station and I still have 20-25% left of my charge,
Mhm.
state of charge. So they've been very conservative. Now, on the other hand, with my Teslas when I had them, sometimes it would tell me to get someplace and be like, arrive there with 3 to 5%. Like, so that buffer feeling, you didn't have it, but it felt confident that you would arrive there. And I mean, I give Tesla credit because it would also start to tell you, hey, you've been doing a little too much, slow it down below 70. Hey, now you're doing
Oh
way too
yeah.
much, slow it down before 65, and then that way you can make it, and so forth, to make sure that you know that you need to go ahead and drive more efficiently in order to arrive
Right.
to that location. So I give them credit for that because none of the other vehicles I've ever driven, monitors your speed and tells you, yo, slow down. Like they'll tell you
Right.
you're dropping or you won't make it now, but it doesn't tell you if you do this, then you'll be able to make it.
Yeah, I definitely feel that sentiment, and that's why I think I started using a better route planner, because when I get somewhere, I want to get there with 60% battery. So if we visit family and I get there, I'm not saying okay, I only got here with like 2%. I need a charger like ASAP before we go anywhere. I don't want to be that guy. Definitely don't want to be that guy. So,
Sixty
you know,
percent, 60%. Oh man, see, you way too
yeah, man,
comfortable for me. That's
yeah,
you way
well,
too
yeah,
comfortable.
I don't play, man. I need at least 60%, because
That's
especially if it's so. For instance, we went to Jacksonville 2 years ago, December, like December 2020 or 2021, yeah, and there were definitely a lot of charges there. Like where I had planned out where we're going and whatnot, so I can orientate myself. Where are the superchargers? So if I
right.
was in a pinch and I had to go, I had to go. And when I did that, luckily the supercharger for us, where we only stayed there for one night, so we got to my godmother's house, and I got there maybe I only had to stop twice, but I stopped three times right before we got into Jacksonville, just
Of
to give it
course.
a little extra juice. And then after that we got to my godmother's house and we stayed the night there, and even we drove out just to get Chipotle and whatnot. So even when I came back, I still had like 58% ish, and had more than enough to get to where we were going the next day. And then
Right.
after that, we drove the next morning. We drove out to my wife's destination to handle some business, do whatever she had to do. And then I had enough to drive out to the charger the last one I stopped at before we came into town, to kind of really put like 80, gets about 80%, and then head on back home and charge about another two times just to get here. So it's it's definitely different. I tell a lot of people it is definitely different, but it's not bad. And one
Right.
thing my coworkers all ask me all the time, because they send me to different places like Jacksonville, North Carolina, Wilmington, North Carolina, things like that. They're like, hey, are you going to be able to go? I'm like, yeah, I can go there. I drive. I drive a Tesla. It's going to get there. And
Right.
they ask all the time, like, well, if you're driving on a 6 hour trip, how long does it take you to stop and charge altogether? It's gonna take like it must take like two extra hours. I'm like, no. Every charging stop I've ever stopped at takes me like maybe 20 minutes, enough time for me to get out, stretch my legs, go use the bathroom, grab something to drink or a snack, get back to the car. The car's done and ready to go.
Yep.
And a lot of people can't wrap their mind around that, which is typically the same gas stop too. Gas stop's about 20 minutes. It doesn't take that long to pump your gas, but everything else that you're doing is about 20 minutes, and it's
Unless you
actually
want
pretty
to,
refreshing.
yeah, unless you want to feel that pain later on for sitting in the car for that long, and then you pay the consequences later. But I had the same conversation with a guy the other day, over the weekend, because I went to a car show, and I told him, I was like, I drove my Mach-E from the Pacific Ocean to Atlantic Ocean. 35 minutes was the longest time that I stopped when I did that road trip. I'm like,
Hmm.
you know, and it won. And then this is, of course, a fun that I always tell them. It cost me $159.68. Show me what car you're going to go from Southern California all the way to north of Jacksonville, Florida for
Yeah.
$160. Show me.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is insane. That is like usually thousands of dollars on a road trip.
Yeah. And yet I'm sitting here charging
Thousands.
up. Yeah. $160. My truck, when I drove the Lightning from California out to the same exact destination, it was like 251 something. But it's an F-150, a full-size truck. What
Yeah.
full-size truck are you going to drive across the country for $250?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And now I will say that is probably like my favorite EV truck right now, the F-150 Lightning. I love that car. It is like it's my dream truck because I am in the market for a truck, just not right now. But at some point, I will get a truck. That mega power front is probably
Oh,
one of the biggest reasons I'm like, you know what, I gotta have that. I don't know why I need it, but I think I gotta have it. I really need it. I
man,
don't know what I'd put in there.
you find things to put in there. This weekend, I went to Cars and Coffee. I was telling you about the car show. I went to Cars and Coffee,
Yeah.
and I ended up putting. You ready for this? Wait for this. I ended
Mhm.
up putting inside of my frunk. I put bagels. I put
Mm.
the spread for the bagels in the little ice where the drain hole is located in the front,
Yeah.
and a toaster so people could toast their bagels.
Oh, that's
In
right, because you got the outlets in there.
Yes, sir. So people was coming up for Cars and Coffee, not expecting
Oh,
to have bagels as well. I bought like 3 dozen bagels, and they were able to pick which one they wanted, slice it, throw it in the toaster. Boom, fresh,
oh,
crispy,
that is
good to go.
so, so that car, that truck is definitely one of my biggest things that I on my bucket list to own because of the fact that I don't do camping, but I could be persuaded. With
Well,
a truck
yeah,
like that, I could be persuaded to go camping. I could be persuaded to go to tailgates because at that point, I'm that guy. Like, oh yeah,
yeah.
Dom's here. Oh yeah, it's all good. We're good. Yeah, he's got the power. All that. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
I took it to a function down in Miami, and I ended up putting, I think it was a 32-inch TV in the front of the car, and had it plugged in, playing. People were just like, "How is this TV hooked up?" One, I got a Wi-Fi hotspot that the truck automatically comes with that you can go ahead
Mm.
and they give you a trial amount to use, or you could just sign up for the subscription for it and have it. But it has Wi-Fi, plugged up the TV. What other vehicle got a TV playing in the big old front? Like,
That's true. Well, we remember the days like in the early 2000s when the big thing was to have like the TV in the headrest.
oh man, yes. Or the
Yeah,
one that
or
dropped
like
down from the one that came flipped them out from the
yeah.
roof. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like now you're getting into the powering aspect of that, and this makes EVs all the rage and a lot of fun. So now here's a question for you:
All
out
right.
of your cars, which one's your favorite?
Man, why do people do that? It's like asking me which kid is my favorite. Like you get into you
Hey,
put me on the
look,
spot.
you don't have to answer. You don't have to answer the kid part, but subconsciously you do have a favorite kid. You
So
just you
look,
just won't tell you won't admit it.
I won't verbalize that. But look, listen.
Yeah.
So honestly, truly, the favorite vehicle that I got right now is the Ford Lightning. And the reason why is because my Ford Lightning is my muscle car. It
Mhm.
rides like a Lincoln. It has the
Mm.
storage space of an SUV because of the front, and then you got the trunk, the bed that has a cover over it that I added. So
Right.
it's like I could put stuff in there, and it's a truck. So it's like I got an all-in-one when it comes to the ultimate vehicle. You run up on me, you're gonna find out real quick. If you if you think I can't fit it in
Oh
my
shoot.
truck, you're gonna find out real quick I can put it in there as well. Like I got
Oh
the
yeah.
space and it's so comfortable. I mean, it's like I the truck is like it's my thing. If I walk out there right now and I'm like, what am I gonna drive right now? It's gonna be the truck.
So do you got multiple chargers for your cars, right?
No, I actually I let them I share off of one, and whichever one needs it
Oh
the
nice.
most is gonna get it. So that and then and then because I'm frugal and Tesla charges
Mhm.
42 cents down the street at the Tesla supercharger, I'll use the truck to charge up the Tesla, because the truck, I can charge it up at a charge point, and it's only costing me 5 cents a kilowatt hour. So 5 cents a kilowatt
Mm,
hour, I fill up, charge up my battery to that 131 that it holds, come home, plug into the Tesla, and I can unload on there, and it's costing me 5 cents a kilowatt hour to share it with the Tesla.
nice,
Yeah,
nice.
winning.
That's the way to go. That is definitely the way to go. Like I'm, for me, we kind of do this. Well, not even like a song and dance. It's more like my wife uses a Tesla wall connector, and I use the mobile connector that came with my car just to maintain, and because
Right.
most of my charging is done at work, so I just maintain the battery essentially, and it's as long as I have enough to heat it up and get my daughter to school, it's absolutely fine for me. So that's pretty awesome. So like now, I've never been in a Mustang Mach-E. I've seen pictures and whatnot, but out of those two, I believe the GT is the faster one, correct?
Yeah, the GT Performance is absolutely the fastest. It's the
What's the ride
fastest.
quality?
So they both offer completely different experiences. So the GT Performance Edition is all about handling suspension. It has a MagneRide suspension, which it's going to be adjusting based off of what you're doing, and the magnets are going to be responding and stiffing up, or um, letting that ride be a little bit softer. It all depends. So with the GT Performance, it's like driving a race car. It's like driving something on a
Mm,
track. It's like driving. So I enjoy it for when I want to go out there and just go be wild and silly. But I enjoy my first edition even more because it's more plush. I'm more on the line of,
gotcha.
I like to be real comfortable. The Mach-E first edition gives me seats that feel like it's Posturepedic, like it's really comfortable. It conforms. It's really nice. The GT seats are stiffer. They have like shoulder supports. It's almost like being in a race car. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's a toss of the coin. Depends on what I'm doing for the day, and what I'm going to drive when it comes to either one of them. One of them. So
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, I plan on getting into some of the other EVs here in where I live at, so then that way I can get a little bit more experience with those because I definitely want to. I form my opinions based on a lot of different factors, but most of them is definitely range and kind of the efficiency of it because I we've talked about this before. I charge it costs me about maybe $2 yeah, about $2 to charge my wife's car, and then for my car, probably about like 90 cents to $1. Something along those lines because my charging rate is like 9 cents during the wintertime and 11 cents during the summertime. Which
right.
the difference of 2 cents, I can't figure it out for the life of me why there was such a difference. I'm like, why don't we just how about you just average the two together and just call it 10 cents and we'll just keep on. But
There you go.
um, yeah, like so for me, like the battery, like in we once again we've talked about this like the Rivian. I don't necessarily like the approach of just stuffing more batteries into something and saying, okay, hey, we did it, we can make it go this far, and that's a problem to me because now you're eating into the savings that I'm looking at getting over the lifetime of owning a vehicle like that.
Absolutely, yeah, and weight's going to factor in as well. So you start stuffing in more batteries, you're also weighing down your vehicle, which is also messing with your efficiency as well. It's crazy because there would be times where, when I had my Model X, my 2019 100D, where it was either drive that or take the Ionic, which the Ionic was only a 28 kilowatt hour battery. But there was times I would rather take the Ionic on an errand instead of the Tesla, and the reason why is because on that Ionic, it was rated at 4.3 miles per kilowatt hour. That's how,
Mm,
Hyundai had rated that. But on average, I would pull 5 to 5.2 miles per kilowatt hour on that car. So I could literally drive from where I lived all the way to San Diego, 92 miles, and at 5.2 miles per kilowatt hour, I'd get there and I still have like 40 miles on the state of charge, which is insane because I would do
yeah,
the same drive in the Tesla, and I would use much more than what I actually use. So instead of using 92 miles, I'd be using 120 miles for that drive worth of, state of charge. So it's just like, I truly enjoyed driving the Hyundai because it's like, I just get to zip around and go. And it's efficiency is a big thing for me, man. I'm all about efficiency. The first edition efficiency, great. I did a drive. I went from southeast Georgia all the way up to South Carolina and all the way down to Jacksonville. I drove over 300 miles. That car is rated at 270. Drove over 300 miles, and I got like 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour up 95 and back down 95. All because I was like, I want to test to see if it's going to go more than 270. Got over 300 miles. And I still had 5% when I pulled into the charging station. I'm winning.
Yeah. Now, to echo that, a lot of people may not know. I mean, it's out of my price range. This next vehicle I'm talking about is definitely out of my price range. But the Porsche Taycan is rated at like 200 or like 230, like 200 or around 200. But what a lot of people don't know is that car actually has a second gear for an EV, and that's like the highway gear. So most EVs only have one speed. You don't hear like a traditional automatic or a traditional manual where you can shift the gears. But the Porsche Taycan is able to switch gears in highway for even higher efficiency. And because of that, it's able to get like 330 or upwards of, longer than that. But it's like they lowballed the range, which is insane to me because it's like you lowball the range, you under promise, but you over deliver.
Right. But I mean, that Taycan, like you said, it's also that price racket. Trust me, I keep holding back on trying to say I want one because it's definitely a want and not a need. But Porsche also owns a record for when it comes to the fastest charging speeds for a cross country run as well. I'm not sure if you know that, but from Los Angeles to New York, 2 hours and 39 minutes worth of charging time that car took in order to go from
That's not
coast
bad.
to coast. 2 hours and 39 minutes. I wish I could do 2 hours and 39 minutes. Like,
yeah. And to put that in perspective for a lot of people is even your gas cars, you can say it's rated for 350 miles or 400 miles, but you'll never get that. You just don't. So, I mean,
Right.
they're subject to a lot of the same things we are. Wind is a factor. Rain is a factor. All of that. Temperature is a factor. I mean, I significantly get better. Yeah, elevation. I get significantly better range when it's warmer, but not like super hot because now the battery management system is trying to cool down the battery and use more power. I average in a Tesla Model 3 Performance. Well, I drive it in chill mode too. I only put it into sport when I'm trying to, when I'm driving spiritedly. And I average like 4 miles per kilowatt hour. Like for me, that's my benchmark. That's my standard. If I don't get 4 miles per kilowatt hour, I'm upset. Like I'm hot. Like what didn't I do right in order to get that? So every time I plug my car in, I use Tesla to take note of all my charging sessions, my driving sessions, and I'm consistently doing like 100% or more with what I have. And honestly, it does make a lot of sense that I'm able to do that because the long range and the performance aren't much different from each other. Now, the rear wheel drive, the one that the Model 3 that you have, is definitely more efficient than what I have. But if as long as I'm on par with the long range, hey, I'm all right. I'll take that.
No, that's pretty impressive. Like 4 miles and you're in the perform. Yeah, no, you're doing great. Like I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome because I mean that takes a lot of discipline as well. But it's funny is like we keep talking about the range and efficiency, but it's like the key is exactly what you just said. If you can sit there and understand how electric vehicles work and discipline yourself, you can make these cars do quite a bit.
Yeah.
They can go much further and much more enjoyable, but how much are you willing to do that as well? I mean, some people are like, oh, I just want to jump in and go. I just want to go in there. It's like, yeah, that's true. But when I lived in Georgia, I used to show my friend, like, I could drive my Mach-E from all the way from Southeast Georgia, exit 1 on 95, all the way up to Atlanta, which was a 5 hour and some change drive. I would drive all the way from there. I would stop in Forsyth, Georgia, and charge up for like $7 and some change and make it into Georgia with a decent amount of charge. what car are you gonna drive for like that long and
Right.
only pay $7 to charge back up? What car?
Yeah.
Like, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so have you noticed, like, have you ever just noticed that you don't go to the gas station anymore? Like, it's just like, huh, because some people, they're like, yeah, I'm not doing gas anymore. It's like you just make the conscientious thought process of, I'm not doing gas anymore. And it's like, I had this moment the other day when I was in a car with my coworkers, and they're like, yeah, have you seen gas prices going up? I was like, huh? What? What are you talking about? Like,
I'm always like, yes, I have. And how do you feel about it? And are you going to
right.
change your lifestyle yet? I mean, are you going to make an informed decision, or are you just going to go ahead and continue to be abused at the pump? But no,
It's
I
like
actually do.
being a Jehovah's Witness.
Right. Hey, I like stopping at the gas stations only because
Yeah.
my license plate says you love gas. So when I pull in there and I've stopped at a pump to go run in to go grab something to drink real quick, because normally it's like I stop to go grab something to drink. Like it might be a Gatorade, it
Right.
might be whatever, but I'll stop and I'll pull up at a pump and I'm just like, this is fun. Like I don't need to use you.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I just want to be here so you guys can see me and I'll be right on my way. But I'm here.
Yeah, I only go to the gas station for lottery tickets, and sometimes my wife's like, "Hey, can you get me a Canada Dry?" And I'm like, "Well, for as much," and I give her flack about it. I'm like, "For as much I'm going to go spend here at the gas station, I can just go to Walmart and get you a big 2 liter." But whatever. But yeah, so it's and it is funny because some of my thoughts that run through my head is what I'm thinking, what the other people were thinking, like, why is that electric vehicle here? Like,
Right.
you have to be here. And it's like, well, I still got to get my lottery tickets. Like, come on now, let's not get crazy here.
That's the cool thing about the truck is it blends in so well. Like you don't even know
Yes.
you don't know what it is. So it's like I pull up and like shockingly, a lot of people down in Southeast Georgia knew exactly what it was as soon as I got it. When I
Mm.
pulled up out there, they were like, "Oh, that's the Lightning. That's the electric truck." I'm just like, "Whoa, y'all know what this is, but you still don't know what my Mach-E is when I pull it out." So it's like, but they know that truck. But it's like it's so funny because I'll go places and people are like, earlier today I had the front open because I was tossing some stuff in there, and the guy stopped. He was like, "There's something missing from up there," and I'm like, "Yeah." It's something that I'm not missing. I'm not missing it at all. Yeah, the truck is
I'm not
missing it
missing
because,
it.
it's like, but
Right.
he's just like, so is it in the back? I'm like, no, it's no rear motor, like no mid motor. No, it's just I don't have an engine. I have motors and they're in
Yes.
between my wheels. You won't see them.
Yeah. Well, the F-150 is the I don't know, the symbol of America, and trucks and all that. So to see that is very it takes people back by it. And there's a lot of people that don't like EVs just for that, just for the notion of they're just different. I'm like, come on, man, like seriously, like out of everything else we got going on, like for real, like
You're
I don't
focused
know,
on that.
like that whole rolling coal.
Oh,
I've never been a victim of that, but that's just weird to me. Like you're gonna pass me with your diesel, going, wide open, just blah, just to blow black smoke on my car. Like, come on, man. Like, whatever.
look, listen, I've had it happen to me a couple times. I'm not even going to sit there and deny it. I had it happen to me in California and I've had it happen to me in Georgia. And
Hmm.
both times that it happened, those drivers both regretted it pretty instantly because I'm not the type that's just going to sit back there and take your smoke. I'm going to give you back some smoke. Like it might not be the same kind of smoke you're giving me, but you go get
Right,
some
right,
smoke. So,
right. Oh, for sure.
yeah, so yeah, it was funny. One of the guys that had did it to me, he was out in Georgia. He was so irritated. He was in a Chevy and he pulled up and just floored it. Like we were on a city street, and I was just like, you burning all that extra, like the cost that it is right now for diesel. You want to show out and do all that? Okay, bet. Still made it around
Right.
him, gave him a great check. And then I also let him know that I work where he works and that I'll be making sure that I make
Mm,
a call to his boss and let his boss know what he was doing on the road. And because I was driving my
nice.
Tesla, that it caught the 360 video and I was going to
Yeah.
download it and share that right quick. So the next time he wants to go out there and be foolish in uniform, he might, he's going to think about that again.
Crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, that's insane. Because why would you? Why would you? And getting into the whole how much it costs and gas and whether it's efficient or not. Like from what I understand, this gas is about So basically, from the pump to your wheels is about 20 to 30% of the gas actually makes it to the wheels to propel you forward. Whereas the EVs, it's like 80%
Right.
from like wall to wheels efficiency. It's like, and then for everybody out there, the comparison is 1 gallon of gas contains about 33.7 kilowatt hours of power. My battery pack in my car is 77 kilowatt hours. So that's about 2.4, 2.7 gallons of
Gallons of
gas
gas.
that I'm driving around on my car. So it's like you're filling up, 10, 12, 16, even sometimes depending on the car, even more, like 20 something gallons of gas. I'm
Right.
like, dude, that's a lot. Like, and you're not even using it. Like the efficiency aspect of when you start doing the math on it, it's like, wait, how much am I spending in gas to go down the street? Like, I
Yeah.
think everybody, if you don't just going to and from work, if you're commuting, 100, 150 miles or less, you should have or be thinking about an electric vehicle. You just should. And whether you like it or not, it's just cheaper. We
Yeah.
spend majority of our times at work. So why spend all the money in gas going back and forth to work?
Yeah.
Like
That's
that
what
that that
yeah. So that's what I
that's what it
explain
came
to
down to for
people.
us.
Yeah, I explain that to people all the time. They're like, "Oh, but you have to wait that 35 minutes. Like I'm in and out 5 minutes for my charger." I'm like, "Okay, so 5 minutes difference. Okay, so 30 minutes I'm spending extra." I'm like, I'm spending $7 to charge my car when I was out there in Georgia. I'm like, it costs you, 50, $60 to fill yours up. So let's go ahead and do the math. How much am I saving? Like, and what is
Mm-hmm.
my time per hour? So
Mm-hmm.
it came out to like $42 and some change of what my time was worth that I was getting paid per hour to charge my car. So opposed to you that's working X amount and you get X amount per hour, I'm over here charging and I'm saving my money. I get to enjoy my money much further.
Yeah. Yeah. And I noticed that yes, I do some speeder driving, but that's only because sometimes I just like to do that. But for the most part, I'm pretty chill in my car. Like I'm not speeding just because I can. And electric vehicles are so awesome to a point to where when I'm driving, you're able to put the exact amount of power that you need in order to get to a certain spot. And then on top of that, by the time I do that, and you want to react to try to cut me off, I'm already there. Like you can try, but your car first has to spool up and think about it. Me, by the time you think about it, I'm already there. Don't even worry about it. Like
Right.
I already got in front of I already got to where I needed to be.
Yep. The computer got to tell the
And
ejectors to give you gas, and then it got to like
right,
downshift. The RPMs has to go up, and then
right.
after that, it has to go down to the drivetrain. Yeah, we already gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm that's why I've raced a couple of people, and and I said beforehand, I'm like, look, by the time your car shifts, whether you have a manual or automatic, that time shifting, I'm already gone.
Right.
I'm already gone. And now
Yeah.
it won't be for long. Like we drive longer than a quarter of a mile. Yeah, you probably walk me down, but for a quarter of a mile, yeah, I'm gone already. Don't stop. Just stop it.
Right. You've already proved your point at that point. It's like, anything over that, you're just looking to get caught up. But like even myself, that
Yeah.
the GT Performance Edition Mach-E out there is 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. I drive it in unbridled every day. The only reason why is because I like performance. Like I don't do
Yeah.
chill, I
Yeah.
don't do normal, I don't do the what they call whisper, which is like chill for the Tesla. Like I don't do that. I keep it
Hmm.
in unbridled. You check it right now, it's in unbridled. The truck, I'll keep it in normal. I won't put it in sport so much because sport is just that thing will do 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. Big old
Mm.
F
And that's
150,
that's
0 to
that's a lot of truck.
that's a lot of truck to be going that
That's
fast,
a lot of
like
truck.
barreling down the road. Yeah. So a lot
Mm.
of performance, a lot of
Mm-mm-mm.
fun. And the cool part is, I mean, I drove that thing cross country. I didn't need to go look for no oil change. I didn't have to go do any kind of like filter change.
Ooh.
I didn't have to do none of that stuff. Like I drove here. It's like I'm here. Like my
Yeah.
cars, I don't have to worry about all that. So that's all the
Yeah.
other factors that we're not worried about.
Yeah. I like that the whole non maintenance part. I'm 33 years old. I have had a car that I just say, I put off the oil change. I'm like, I'm not gonna put. I'm not gonna do it. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. Big mistake. One
Right.
day the engine seized up because I never took it in, and I learned my lesson. And that's one of the reasons why for me electric vehicles were right for me, because when I'm ready to go, I'm just ready to go. Like, don't put on a sign that says maintenance required every 3,000 miles. That annoys me. It,
Right.
I despise that more than anything. Like, and it's just blinking at you. You're like, dude, like, come on, man. Like, and it never happens when it's convenient. It's always when you're
No.
about to take a big trip. You're on a big trip.
Yep.
It's never convenient for you. Never. And the only thing I have to worry about with this car is make sure I get the tires rotated, and that's about it. Like, I plan on taking my car in just to make sure everything is what it is, because I did buy it used. But you really don't even have to take it in but for every 2 years, and that's
Yeah.
if at all. My service guy that comes to service my car, he's like, yeah, the car's fine, the car's perfect, because I'm paranoid, but still. I just want to make sure, this is a big investment. So it's like, yeah, I got to make sure the investment's good. Just
And it
got to
feels
check
great
it.
to be told you don't need anything, opposed to when you didn't have an EV and it's just like, you know
Oh
it's
yeah,
coming. You know it's coming.
you need this, you need that, you need this. They start naming parts on a car that you don't even know you had. You're like,
Right.
what is a flux capacitor? Like, what? Like, when did that get put in him?
Yeah, I know. When
It's a
did
whole
the when
conspiracy.
when did the radiator get bearings? Like
Right.
yeah,
Like, man, come on, man. You guys
yeah.
nickel and dime everything. But so
Everything.
one thing I want to, so the last thing I want to kind of round out this call with is just our credentials. As we are EV owners, but what is it that you do that kind of qualifies you as an authority in electric vehicles or vehicles in general?
So for me, as I mentioned early on in the show, is I've got over 500,000 miles of EV miles driven. I've owned probably a good 10 different type of EVs. I've had multiple road trips across the United States of America in EVs. So I've done it in Teslas, I've done it in non-Teslas, I've done it in the Ford Mach-E's, I've done it in the Ford Lightnings a couple times. Um, I go to different events, I go to different shows, I'm talking to engineers, I'm dealing with other folks, influencers in this industry. So when it comes to my credibility, my credentials for this, it's all firsthand. And I mean, I've shared a lot of it out there, so that's where I'm at with that.
Nice.
What about you,
Me, I'm
man?
just a family guy. Hey, I'm just a family guy that likes EVs. I did my research on EVs probably 2 years before I actually bought my first one, and it was definitely a complete mind shift in learning the new terminology, the things I need to look out for, and just being knowledgeable about the EVs just in general. So I do keep up with a lot of that stuff. I do work for a very well-known car dealership group here in the US, and definitely plan on uh, going out and venturing out and seeing more vehicles, and getting that done. I'm what you would call somewhat of a nerd, so I don't really go out too often, but for the sake of the electric vehicles and my interests of cars and whatnot, it's going to be a discovery process for me. So I plan on venturing out and doing so much more. And yeah, I think this is going to be a great venture. All juiced up is something that we definitely came together and wanted to do, and I'm really putting a lot of. I'm going to put a lot behind it. Definitely inspired by yourself and everything that you do. So definitely want to try to start running those same circles, and start getting involved in a lot of that. So, but yeah, it's
Absolutely.
my EVs are awesome. I don't listen to what anybody tells you. Yes, you have some people who have had bad experiences, whether it's an F-150 Lightning catching on fire or even a Tesla catching on fire, but they catch fire a lot less than your internal combustion, meaning explosion engines. So you guys got to drive with that every day. Tell you to take that.
Yeah, man, well put. And and don't get me wrong, like although I have all electric vehicles, I'm still an auto
Right.
enthusiast, and you will see me talk about other type of vehicles as well. I mean, I love the GT40 Ford. I love I love performance. I love the new Bronco. I love, I like that Dark Horse Ford is coming out with their new Mustang. I like the Lucid that's electric, but you're gonna see me talk about other cars as well. Like if it's
Nice.
something out there that's fun and can be a good time, you're gonna see me talk about it. I love cars.
That's all well and good. Like my favorite internal combustion car, if I could ever, I have two of them. If I could ever drive them or own them, I'll be a happy man. Acura NSX or Nissan GTR.
Oh man, I gotta send you the photos from my Cars and Coffee that I did this weekend. There were 4 to 5 Acura NSXs out there this weekend. Yeah.
Oof.
And a GTR was out there as well. Seen those a few
Nice.
times. Good cars. The only car that I have on my bucket list that I have not owned or bought out of everything that I've ever had on that list is a Hummer. So that's next on my list. And I needed to mature a little bit before I got it, because I knew if I got it when I was too young, I'd be in jail, because I'm jumping curves, I'm going over fences. If there was traffic, traffic wouldn't be a factor.
Pancaking cars.
Not even pancaking cars. I'd just be off on the field somewhere, like, oh, traffic here. I'm just gonna go over. If I get over that mountain right there, I'll be to where I need to be. But I would not hesitate to run over a fence. I knew that maturity was not in the right place. Now
give you a bully bar at you a bully bar at the front. It's like, whatever, it'll be all right.
Right, air horns, big old spotlights. Like, it would be bad. It would have just been all bad. Now I'm more mature and I got things to lose. Yeah, I could do a Hummer.
Nice.
So there you have it.
But all right, guys. Definitely want to thank you guys for tuning in. Definitely want you guys to like and subscribe. This is definitely a new channel. And if you're listening on all podcast mediums, Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you may be, please stay tuned. We will start looking at doing weekly shows, so that way you guys can get content and follow us. And definitely follow us on social media, which you should see down at the bottom if you're watching this. If you're listening, Sergio's social media for Instagram is Big Serge. And on Twitter, it's at LiftGift with LYFT and GYFT. And my social media handles for Instagram is 9dymedia. And for Twitter is at 9dymedia, pretty much the same thing. So definitely keep in with us. We tweet a lot. I just actually subscribed to Sergio's not too long ago, because I didn't know that he had them. So, and I see that he tweets a lot. And I see him on Facebook, a lot. So yeah, definitely tune in with us. And sometimes he needs to somebody needs to take his phone. So,
absolutely.
It's all well and good. So, definitely want you guys to keep tuning in. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will talk to you later.
All right, man. You guys have a good one.